Sometimes there's no one else who loves me like you used to. Sometimes we're not ourselves. There's no one I can turn to. And I know all the feelings that we shared are in the past. And I know your relationships are never meant to last. And I'll take some time, but I'll be alright. Moving on, moving on. I know time's hard to let, but I've had enough. Moving on, we're moving on, we're moving on.
before we were using So same, there is some mu. Yeah. And
You dwell in the shelter of the Lord, who abide in his shadow for life. Say to the Lord, my refuge, my rock, in whom I trust, and he will raise you up on eagle's wings, bear you on the breath of dawn, make you to shine like the sun, and hold you in the palm of his hand. The snare of the fowler will never capture you, and famine will bring you no fear. Under his wings, your refuge, his faithfulness, your shield, and he will raise you up on eagle's wings, bear you on the breath of dawn, make you to shine like the sun, and hold you in the palm of his hand. And for to his angels he's given a command to guide you in all of your ways. Upon their hands they will bear you up, lest you dash your foot against a stone. And he will raise you up on eagle's wings, bear you on the breath of dawn, make you to shine like the sun, and hold you in the palm of his hand. And hold you in the palm of his hand.
Magandang umaga po sa ating lahat. Good morning, dear teachers from the Davao region, and welcome back to our 3-day activity. Today is a whole day po na session. We have a session in the morning and also again in the afternoon. Few reminders po before we start with our second session. Accomplish the attendance link posted on our FB group page. And of course, welcome to our latest member of the i.LEAD family, Ma'am Julieta Estrada from the SDO of Davao de Oro. Para po sa mga iba pa nating teachers na interesado po to become members of i.LEAD, you can still access the membership link on our FB group page. Mag-cut off po tayo hanggang mamaya po 5 p.m. so that we can send the certificate of membership and ID together with your certificates for this program. Another reminder po yung ating assessment tool. Word file po yun. For those of you who have not yet downloaded the assessment tool, kindly use a device with a Word program or application. Baka po hindi mag-download agad sa cellphone. So try downloading it on using a laptop or a tablet or desktop po na merong Word application. Save it po and edit as we go from one session to the next. So sasagutan po natin yon. By now, you should have answered already the assessment for session 1, which was facilitated yesterday by Doc Mia Torres de la Cruz. And another reminder po for those who are requesting entry into the FB group page, we're checking po the names against the list submitted to us by the different SDOs. So, kindly answer the entry questions. Maaring kasi po yung FB name nyo, iba po dun sa registered name ng SDO. So, kindly answer the entry questions if you're a participant. And SDO that has registered you, whether it's Davao de Oro, Occidental, or Mati City, and then of course your registered name. Only those po whose names appear in the list of the SDOs will be admitted into the FB group page for data privacy po of the members who have been officially registered. So nevertheless po, you are all welcome to join the Zoom platform. If you can coordinate with your SDOs po, kahit na next week po after the webinar, pwede nyo po siguro silang i-contact so that your names will be included in the official list of participants. So again po, yun po yung reminder natin, only those who are officially registered by the SDOs will be admitted into the FB group page and will be given certificates for this program. Nevertheless po, pwede po kayong mag-join sa ating Zoom platform. Okay, let's start. Nandito na po ang ating speaker for this morning. Let me introduce to you our second session. Our second session will be about interactive and technology-based innovations to develop higher order thinking skills in mathematics. So yesterday po, we've had a discussion after Doc Mia's session about issues regarding the teaching of math and issues with our learners who lack and lag behind other learners. So this morning and this afternoon, I hope we will be able to help those learners. Session 2 will be about incorporating technology and innovation in the teaching of mathematics. Okay, this is an integral part of the world we live in today. It's also inseparable from the learners that we cater to in our classrooms. Technology offers many useful applications, teaching and learning aids, which can help make an otherwise difficult subject accessible to all learners. The session aims to demonstrate how to integrate the use of technology and available applications or software for the teaching of mathematics. Our expected learning outcomes for this morning first is to adapt mathematics to the new normal of hybrid teaching, because even as we go back to face-to-face learnings, nandyan pa rin po yung ating learning continuity plans. We can always shift to online or modules in case of calamities and other emergencies. Develop mathematics lessons and activities that promote the learning of higher order thinking skills, or tinatawag nating HOTS. For our assessment, session 2, unang-una po for proficient teachers, you're asked, what specific innovation will you adapt and incorporate in your hybrid classroom? Adapt similar technology or tool for various modes of teaching. For the highly proficient teacher, you're asked to design a simple mathematics lesson targeting higher order thinking skills. So kahapon po nakita natin yung Bloom's taxonomy and so on. So nakita natin our specific outcomes for various math lessons. And to help us achieve our learning outcomes and respond to the assessment questions, we're very lucky to have with us today our resource speaker, Dr. Debbie Marie Versosa, who holds a doctorate of philosophy in education from Macquarie University in Sydney, Australia. She was a recipient of the 2009 Higher Degree Research Excellence Award for Bachelor and Master of Science in Mathematics in 2000 and 2004, respectively, from the Ateneo de Manila University. Dr. Versosa likewise landed as top 9 in the PRC LET March 2017 exam. On top of her academic achievements, Dr. Versosa has published numerous Scopus Index articles and international book chapters. She has extended her expertise to the DepEd as content expert in the National Training of Trainers for grades 7, 9, and 10, as a consultant and validator for DepEd grades 9 and 10 learning modules, and convener for the development of learning modules for the DepEd Grade 11 General Mathematics course. For the CHED, she has also served as team leader in the development of teaching guides for Grade 11 General Math under the CHED PNU Consortium. Ladies and gentlemen, dear teachers, let's welcome our speaker for this morning, Doc Debbie. Good morning.
Hi, good morning to everyone. So, I think sa dami nating i.LEAD na webinar, ito na yung pinakamalapit sa akin. We have here
Yes.
participants from Davao de Oro. So, I'm here in Cotabato. So maybe hopefully in the near future, we can also have a face-to-face eventually.
Yes
Yung
po, dun
tulad
sa
ng
area
dati.
natin.
But of
Opo.
course, sana. But in the meantime, of course, we appreciate the time that we have for the online webinar. And I do hope that the participants will be engaged during the next few hours. So don't worry, we will have a short break in the middle because I know it's going to be very difficult to go through everything in just one go. So I will share my screen.
Go ahead po.
Ayan. Yan, nakikita na, no? So yan. I'm sharing my entire screen because later on we'll be looking at some forms of technology as well. Tingnan lang natin. For the participants, because I'm assuming that, of course, many of you are using technology. So I'll be asking you this question. Ayan. So for our intro activity, what kinds of technology have you used in your teaching? So please go to this website. So I'll give you time to do this so we can see your responses. Go to the website www.menti.com and use the code 14160944. Well, I share my yeah. So again, please go to this website. If you did not see it, I'll make it larger again. Please type in your internet device www.menti.com and use the code 14160944. And then please answer this question. So ano na ba yung mga nagamit yung technology? I'm sure that you've used some form of technology in your math classes. So your response will help us see, okay, kung ano yung madalas ginagamit ng grupo, okay, so that I can also adjust later what I will be discussing. Sige, so hintayin ko lang ang inyong mga response. So again, ito. Yan. So some of you have already answered. So ang ilalagay natin kung anong klaseng technology yung nagagamit natin sa classroom, no? So we have PowerPoint, Kahoot. So let's see. Kahit na naulit na yung response, you can type again the same. Okay? Mostly PowerPoint. Okay, ano pa mga ginagamit? Okay. Kahit na ulit na isulat nyo lang kasi pag sinulat nyo, if more people write a certain technology, lalaki siya. So you can see here, medyo maraming gumagamit ng PowerPoint. So we have PowerPoint. So there are also some who are using GeoGebra, manipulatives, Kahoot. Ano pa ba? I also see some of you answering in the chat box. You can, syempre pwede nyo rin gawin yon. Okay. Pero parang PowerPoint pa rin, no? Kahit sa chat box and Kahoot. And I think what's in the chat box is consistent with what you see on the screen. I hope you see my screen. Na malaki yung PowerPoint. So mukhang maraming gumagamit talaga dito PowerPoint. Ngayon, lumalaki na rin ang GeoGebra. So many of you are also using GeoGebra. Okay, now let's move on to the next question. Okay, so I think now I have a good idea of what you are using. Many of you are using PowerPoint. Let's move on to the next question, which is why. So kanina is what. Ngayon naman is why are we using technology? So, okay. So why are we using technology? O may SPSS. Dito naman sa why naman tayo sumagot. Okay? Palagay ko yung iba na advanced, let me manage the results, no? So dali lang ha. Kasi ang kanina is what, ngayon naman ay why. Sandali lang. So let me manage the result. I'll reset all the results so that you can now, okay, let's start with the blank screen. So why are we using technology? Bakit naman? Hindi naman yung what. Okay, so now we have some answers. To make learners more active, to catch children's attention, for better learning, to make teaching easier. Okay, we have supplement learning. So to make the lesson easy or easy to understand, more engaging, to motivate. Okay. Pwede nyo rin basahin yung mga sagot ng iba. O ito, lumalaki yung for fun, saka yung more engaging. So mukhang yan yung ating dahilan kung bakit tayo gumagamit ng technology. So it's more on engagement, catching learners' attention. There are also some who are saying it's for better learning. Ayan, to gain interest. So tingnan nyo na lang din ang nasa screen. All right, so thank you for your responses. At least I got to know you and you also got to know your co-participants. Isang mapansin ko rin dito is not many of you actually wrote something that's close to the topic for this morning, because remember this morning, our topic is on the use of technology for higher order thinking skills. But I think most of you here are using technology for motivation, for effective aspects like you want to make the lesson entertaining or you want to make the lesson fun. So ngayon, mag-focus tayo how to make the lesson challenge students in their thinking. So thank you for your response. Let me move back here to our slide. Okay. So most of us actually feel that face-to-face classes are better than online modes. Now, many of you, I think all of you are back to school. So same with us, we're back to the university face-to-face, and we can actually see that there are many advantages na nakikita natin yung mga estudyante. Okay? But now that we're not face-to-face, of course, we still harness the use of technology. In a webinar, ito yung masasabi natin, you have more opportunities to interact with me, the facilitator. In fact, ayan, marami ako nababasa sa chat box. Kanina marami ako nabasa dun sa Menti board. So, di ba mas madali nyo rin makita yung mga response ng ibang tao in just a short amount of time. So, we also harness the use of technology to engage with each other. So please, later on I'll have more questions, and I hope that you can use the chat box in order to make yourself heard. So I'm sure marami kayong nasa isip, pwede nyo yung gamitin. So I'm just here as a facilitator, but I would really welcome your ideas. So ayan, so kindly use the chat box also to engage with the questions in this webinar. And then, just to reiterate the expectations, okay, the challenge is that the webinar will not end by the time that I finish talking, but it was just the start to give you a springboard or an idea that you would explore further and use in your own classes. So marami tayong pag-uusapan ngayon, and later on, as I heard Ma'am Ria, the expectation is that you can use the content from our discussion in order to design your own lesson. So yun talaga ang challenge. Marami ako sasabihin dito. So sasabihin ko na ngayon sa inyo na hindi lahat ito ay magagamit nyo. Kasi syempre iba-iba yung inyong eskwelahan, iba-iba rin yung tinuturo ninyo. But the challenge is for you to select an idea that you would use further in your own classes. So having said that, okay, so I earlier asked you why use technology, and we will answer that. One possible reason that we are using technology is because it's an expectation in the official curriculum. As you can see, in the official mathematics teaching guide, you have here, calculators and computers. So we have here technology as part of the mathematical tools. And maybe some of you are aware of the classroom observation tool. So this is used to observe teachers, especially kung malapit na yung promotion. Possibly nagbago na rin ito, but this is probably something that you've encountered before, where in one of the aspects, there is an expectation that teachers select, develop, and organize teaching and learning resources, including ICT, to address learning goals. So having said that, maybe these are some of the reasons why we use technology, kasi ito yung expected sa atin. And many of you are actually using PowerPoint, some of you use GeoGebra. So ang tanong, are we just using it for compliance with the official mandate to us? So in order to deepen what I just said, let me share with you 3 possible ways that a teacher may use technology. Marami sa inyo gumagamit ng PowerPoint. So baka yung iba, ganito yung paggamit ng PowerPoint. I'll show examples in grade school and also in high school. So in grade school, a teacher might use PowerPoint in order to show a picture of fractions, such as this one, 1/3. A teacher may also use software to show accurate pictures and the precise location of a fraction on a number line. So here, 1/9, it's very difficult to draw 1/9. But because of technology, it becomes easier to draw 1/9. So you can actually partition the parts, and then based on that, we can draw 5/9 like this one. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 copies of 1/9. So dumadali yung pagka-drawing ng fraction. So sa una, we just use PowerPoint. So ginawa ko lang to using PowerPoint, using a line and circle. But here, I'm using technology to be more accurate. So this is an accurate representation of 9 equal parts. So we have 1/9 for each slice. And teacher 3 can use dynamic software to show how the numerator or denominator affects the size of the fraction. So to demonstrate that, let me share with you the GeoGebra applet. And many of you are actually familiar with this. This is 5/9. Okay. So what happens if you modify the numerator? So nakikita natin, no, the number of shaded parts increase. Or if we change the denominator, the number of equal parts actually also change. So dito, nakikita natin na we don't just have a static image. We have an animation, we have a dynamic image to show the effects of changing the numbers on the representation. Ayan. So in high school, okay, a parallel example will be this one. Uses PowerPoint to present theorems about angles formed by parallel lines cut by a transversal. So you can use PowerPoint like what I did here. I just drew two lines and then I want to show that the angles here are equal. So I'm actually demonstrating it visually. So wala naman akong pinakitang accurate image. I just want to show the visual representation. So yan yung one way. Another way is to make or to show precise angle measurements, and I can use technology for that. So like here, you can see that the angle measurements are actually accurate. So we have here two angles that are 64 degrees. Teacher 3, however, uses dynamic geometry software to explore angle relationships. So what do I mean by that? So let me first So let me open. Okay. So here you can see two lines. They're not parallel. Okay, they're obviously not parallel. Okay, because they meet at a certain point. Notice their corresponding angles. Magkaiba sila, diba? And that's also true for the other pairs. The other pairs are not congruent. However, if we try to manipulate the two lines so that they become parallel, so meaning they don't intersect anymore, okay, so kung gawin natin siyang parallel, like this one, you'll see that if the lines are parallel, then the two corresponding angles are congruent. So here we are already exploring, okay? We have congruent angles if the lines are parallel. Tapos, if we want to make the two angles here congruent, kailangan gawin din nating parallel yung dalawang lines. Okay? So, yan siya. Medyo mahirap. 67, 66. Yan. And, a further demonstration will be this, where you see here two parallel lines. So, the two parallel lines are shown, and notice that whatever orientation I have, the corresponding angles are always congruent. Ayan. So this is how teacher 3 uses technology. Okay. So now, having shown you 3 teachers who are using technology, okay? So I showed you 3 teachers using technology. My question is, who among the 3 teachers, ito, so let me show you these 3. Who among the 3 teachers do you think, okay, you can type in the chat box, you can also see the chat box here. Who among the 3 teachers do you think is maximizing or harnessing the advantage of technology? Is it teacher 1, 2, or 3? So let's see the opinions or beliefs of the group. Okay? Lahat so far ay teacher 3 ang sagot. Wala bang wala bang magsabing ibang teacher? Okay? Minsan nakakatuwa rin pag nababasa ang chat box, merong naiiba yung answer. Okay? But here I think you have unanimously decided that it's teacher 3. And there's also a reason here from Ma'am Marife, because the learners could relate much. Okay? You don't just show a picture, you actually show dynamic images. Ayan, so teacher 3. Okay. So, magawa talaga natin yan using technology. Many of you are using PowerPoint. Actually, palagay ko ito, kaya itong gawin sa PowerPoint. Medyo mahirap lang. But you can actually make images move in PowerPoint. Katulad nung ginawa ko dito, pakita ko lang, no? So, yung mga ganito, yan. So, this is using PowerPoint. Diba? Actually, posible yung PowerPoint makagawa tayo ng yung mga ganito, yung gumagalaw. But obviously, this is easier in GeoGebra. And GeoGebra is also free. Katulad niya, gumagalaw siya. Diba? So, mas madali lang sa GeoGebra. And the difference between teacher 1 and teacher 2 really is, yung pareho naman silang static image ang ginagawa, pero si teacher 2 ay meron siyang, merong accurate na yung kanyang drawing, hindi yung gawa-gawa lang ng ng parallel line, katulad nito, hindi gawa lang ng circle, mas accurate si teacher 2. Okay. Tapos sabi dito ni Sir Joven ay pwede pang gamitin kahit walang internet. So that's true. So, ayan siya. So, at least for now, many of you are agreeing that teacher 3 is the one who is using technology to its fullest. So, we'll discuss more about that later. Ano nga bang meron si teacher 3? So, na-identify nyo kasi si teacher 3. Mamaya lilinawin natin anong meron kay teacher 3. Bakit siya yung naisip natin na gumagamit ng technology in an optimum way. But the problem is in many of our classrooms, how are we teaching mathematics? Many of us hold on to traditional methods even without knowing it. So let me share with you a story. The story is actually part of this article. Okay, so it's a fictional story though. So there is a boy in a classroom who was asked by a visitor. Tinanong siya, ano yung 37 plus 25? Ito yung ginawa ng bata. The usual, ano yung 37 plus 25? So he answered this way, which is what we would expect. Later on, the visitor asked the boy, how did you get your answer? How did you... So paano mo yan nakuha? Yung totoo, paano mo yan nakuha? Ang sagot ng bata, don't tell my teacher. Kahit ito yung sinulat ng bata, don't tell my teacher, but what I really did was 37 and 20 is 57. So yung ginawa daw muna niya, 37 plus 20, 57. And then I added 5, so the answer is 62. Okay. So bakit kaya sinabi ng bata, don't tell my teacher? Any ideas? You can type in the chat box. Because the boy answered this way in front of the visitor, but what he really did was he thought 37 plus 20 is 57, and then he added 5. Okay, sabi ni Sir or Ma'am, A. Brandt, because it's not normal. Hindi yan yung normal tinuturo natin sa classroom, di ba? So, ano pa, maybe iba yung tinuro ng teacher. Yes, Sir Nathan. So, maybe iba yung tinuro ng teacher. Also, same, not what the teacher told him. So thank you for your responses. Kaya minsan, yung mga estudyante, meron silang idea na ang pwede ko lang gawin yung tinuro sa akin. It's not the right process. Okay. So now let me move on to another story. Okay. So you can continue typing now. So I'm reading and then later on we'll also discuss some of what your answers are. Okay. So let's move on to the next story. Okay. In this situation, notebooks whose original price was 25 pesos were on sale at half the price. So naka-discount, half the price. A customer bought 2 notebooks. So ito yung ginawa ng salesperson. The salesperson did this. 25 kasi half price, di 25 divided by 2, nag-long division siya. Ang sagot, 12.50. Bumili ng 2 notebook yung customer. So, ginawa niya 12.50 plus 12.50 equals 25 pesos. Ayan. My question is, okay, now I hope more of you can answer kasi maiksi lang yung sasagot dito. Who among them, who between the boy and the salesperson had more number sense? Was it the boy who computed 37 and 25, the sum? Or the salesperson, okay, about the notebooks? Tingnan natin. Okay, so type kayo, type. Medyo maiksi lang ita-type, boy or salesperson. Okay, maraming nagsasabing the boy, pero merong nagsasabing salesperson ngayon. Okay. So, it's the boy. And here I am talking about number sense. Sorry, I think na cover. I'm talking about number sense to include various aspects such as understanding of, liitan ko to para mabasa niyo. Understanding of number structure, meanings, and magnitude. And many of you answered the boy. Kaya lang meron ditong salesperson. Tingnan natin sino sumagot ng salesperson because we want to hear other responses. Meron ba yan? Sir Edwin. Sir Edwin, are you here? Maybe we can hear from you. Bakit mo nasabing salesperson? So explain your reasoning to the group. You must have your reason. Sir Edwin?
Yes, ma'am. Good morning.
Good morning. Sige, maganda
Ay,
yan dahil kahit na marami nagsasalita ng boy na sabi mong salesperson, please share your ideas.
no, I'm just concerned on how the particular salesperson explore. It leads him to immersing more on getting the idea. It does not just end on a particular way of solving that, but it made him or made her explore more things and numbers. And that's a good for me naman, that's a good way of tracing up the ability on the particular student, because from that teacher would know better on how to um, impose more strategy on a particular students. Kasi you've got more about that student, because the very important is you know more on your student, and that's the time it's not hard for you to handle that particular student. So I think that could be all. Thank you.
Okay, so salamat Sir Erwin. What I gathered from your response is the salesperson was also able to demonstrate his or her knowledge kasi hindi lang isang strategy meron tayong strategy. Actually, kung titingnan natin, meron tayong sarili strategy para malaman magkano yung ibabayad ng customer, no? But the salesperson was able also to demonstrate a different strategy, which is through the use of algorithms. The boy actually, sabi din ni Sir Erwin, was able to demonstrate multiple strategies, and it's up to us teachers to know or to yung kilalanin natin mga estudyante natin at ano mga strategies nila. We listen to them, so we don't just impose our own strategy. So the problem is, unfortunately, many of us, kahit hindi natin sabihin, minsan sa sobrang bilis natin magturo, minsan siguro ang pati estudyante ko, minsan iniisip nila kung ano yung tinuro ko, yun na yun. Kasi minsan nagmamadali, so isa lang maituturo natin strategy. But in fact, there are many strategies. And if we listen to them, we get to know them, and we get to know other strategies as well. And it's unfortunate that if we only recognize one strategy in the classroom, then students may fail to have number sense. And maybe that's the reason why many of you wrote the boy. Kasi yung boy, may alam siyang mental math. Naiintindihan niya anong meaning ng 60, 65. Naiintindihan niya yung meaning ng 37. Ayan. So who has number sense, the boy or the salesperson? So both of them can compute. Yun yung mahalaga doon. Pareho silang tama. Pero iba yung kanilang strategy. So we have to recognize that there can be multiple strategies. Okay. Not just the standard one. Marami sa inyo nagsulat. Bakit kaya sinabi ng bata na don't tell my teacher? Tapos ang reason ninyo kasi kaya siguro tinago ng bata because hindi yun yung tinuro sa kanila ng teacher nila. So a lesson for us is we have to listen to our students. Okay. Next question. Should we use calculators or not? Ito palagay ko baka mag-iba-iba kayo sagot. Should we use calculators or not in the classroom? Can you give your response? O meron dito not in grade school? No, mga no. Meron bang gagamit? Pwede ba gumamit ng calculator in the classroom? May konting yes. Meron daw sa advanced math. Depends. O yan, depends. Depende. Yung iba nakakita ko depende. Pero yung iba nakakita ko, depende saan? Depende kung grade school. Kung grade school, hindi. Pag high school, okay lang. Tapos depende rin sa topic siguro. Okay? Merong yes, may no, pero maraming depends. Depends. O meron dito may nakita akong trigonometry. Ano yun? Pag trigonometry, kailangan ng calculus. O nga naman, paano ka naman mag-compute ng sine 20 degrees? Diba? Hindi naman tayo gagamit ng sine table. So for higher math, it depends on grade level and topic. Okay? So, no. Depende sa topic. Okay. So ngayon, siguro gusto kong I want to expand, hindi ma-expand, pero I hope that you have an open mind. Ang sasabihin ko ngayon sana is, hindi siya sa higher math lang. We can use calculators even for grade school. And in the talk later this afternoon, we will have some calculators activities also na makita natin paano nagagamit ang calculator in such a way na hindi lang, I'm sure ang iniisip nyo, bakit hindi pwede grade school? Kasi hindi sila matuto, di ba? Hindi sila matuto mag-add, hindi sila matuto mag-subtract. So mukhang maraming ganun yung sinabi. So again, what I will try to argue for now is that we can use technology even for lower grades because technology, ano nga ba yung title nitong talk? The title of this talk is the use of technology for developing higher order thinking skills. So hindi ibig sabihin na yung talk na ito para lang sa high school. Hindi ibig sabihin na yung talk na ito para lang sa college. Pwede rin ito sa elementary. So ito. Do you agree? Calculator, so you don't need to answer this, pero based on the responses that you gave, it seems that some of you are thinking this way. Calculators do all the work for students. They become too lazy to think and they will not be challenged enough. Kaya siguro marami nagsulat dito, no? Depende sa topic. Okay. And calculus will also prevent students from learning basic math. Kaya marami sa inyong nagsulat na wag talaga yan si Ma'am Mary Chris. No talaga. Hindi daw talaga pwede sa elementary. So teaching grade 1, it's not helpful to let them use the calculator. So ako siguro hindi ko naman sabihin na maniwala kayo sa akin or what. I'll just give you some ideas. I hope that you can use them, no? Pag-isipan nyo, wag naman yung kaagad sa grade 1, hindi. So subukan natin, may mga gagawin tayo ngayon and even this afternoon. And I hope that, yun nga, we just be more open to the idea that we can actually make use of calculators even for basic mathematics, hindi lang sa trigonometry. Okay? So yun yung ating gagawin ngayon. So what's a possible response to that? Okay. If we think that calculators do all the work for students, they will be lazy to think. A possible response, this is the response I'll start with. It is still students who will decide how to set up the problem. Sila pa rin yung mag-iisip what is the operation to use and determine if the answer will make sense. Further, calculators will eliminate tedious algorithms and give students more time to explore challenging and interesting mathematics. Maybe in this morning's talk, hindi ako masyado mag-focus sa lower grades, no? Pero mamaya sa hapon sa math games, we'll also discuss how to use technology, specifically calculators, for lower grade students. Kasi calculators yung yung available sa atin kahit cellphone may calculator. Kaya maganda rin malaman natin, pwede palang gamitin yung calculator para sa bata. Pwede palang gamitin to develop higher order thinking skills. Ayan. So ito, marami pa rin humahabol, hindi daw talaga pwede sa LM. So sana let's just have an open mind, no? Hindi ko kayo mako-convince pa ngayon, but hopefully in the examples later, yun nga, medyo mag-isip pa tayo ng iba, not just yung quick no, hindi yung no tayo kaagad. So isipin natin, how can we use technology to develop higher order thinking skills even in elementary mathematics? Ayan. Yan, meron na, pwede na daw sa LM. So, hindi ko rin naman, pero yun nga, merong paraan. So meron ding paraan na hindi talaga pwede sa LM. So I also acknowledge your answers. Pag yung paraan natin, yung instead na matuto sila, yung hindi na sila marunong mag-add, talagang hindi pwede. But the point of this talk is how we can use technology in other ways. Hindi lang yung para mag-calculate sila. Okay. And one possible reason for that is why am I talking about the importance of using calculators? Nagbago na masyado yung technology. Before calculators were not readily available. During the time of the logarithms, yung invention of logarithms, wala pang calculator. They had to do logarithmic tables. Nung time ng ancient Greeks, alam na nila yung sine, cosine, pero wala silang calculator. They had to use trigonometric tables. So dito sa picture na ito, nasaan dito yung calculator? Okay, ngayon kasi yung calculator hawak na natin sa kamay. Dito, nasaan ang calculator sa picture na ito? Sige, let's hear some of your responses in the chat box. I'm also reading your responses, so you can type anytime. Ay, maganda rito. Pwede daw gamitin sa grade 1 for breaking their curiosity and ignorance. Well, hindi naman pwedeng hindi sila marunong gumamit ng calculator. Tama yun. Okay. But, okay. Sige, after the previous question, ito na yung tanong ko ngayon. Nasaan dito yung calculator? Okay? The fingers. In the mind. Okay, remember now, calculators can fit inside our hand. No? Sige. O yan, parang konti lang yung sumasagot sa aking tanong ngayon. Pero marami, yan, nasaan ang calculator? So, merong sumagot nasa machine, nasa wall, nasa mind, nasa mind. Nasa fingers. Nasa mind, in the wall. In the mind. Okay. Maybe some of you are answering in the wall or in the machine. Kasi nga, di ba ngayon, yung calculator, kasya na siya sa kamay natin. Calculators are very small. Di ba? Sa palengke, liliit lang ng calculator. Noong unang panahon, yung calculator, yung buong kwarto, the whole room. Ayan, the whole room, sabi ni Sir Renan, is the calculator. Kasi masyadong malaki pa natin mga wiring. Okay? The strands behind the girl, nasa wall. Nandun daw yung calculator. But many of you are also recognized. Di ko alam kung nakita niyo lang din yung slide ko kanina. Nagkamali ako ng pag-scroll. Here, actually, the calculator is the woman herself. The woman is called a computer. Okay, so these women are working as computers at NACA in 1949, gathering air pressure reading. So itong dalawang, these two women here, they're actually computers. In the same way that a person who drives, ang tawag natin sa nagda-drive ay driver. O yan, I was right daw. Ang tawag natin sa tumatakbo ay runner. Ang tawag dati sa computer ay taong nagko-compute. Ayan. So dati kasi, ganito yun. Dati, wala pang calculator na machine. Kaya pag sabi mong calculator, ang meaning ng calculator, tao. Dati, ang pag sabi mong computer, hindi yung sinasaksak natin sa kuryente. Dati, ang computer ay tao. Kaya pala daw tama lagi yung babae. Actually, during that time, it's really women who were primarily chosen to be calculators. So this is again another woman calculator or computer. This is a human computer, Doris Baron, pictured in 1955. So works with tape from machines measuring air pressure. So notice in 1955, hindi naman kalayuan na yun. Now is 2022. I'm sure may mga kilala kayong buhay na noong 1955. Siguro yung nanay or lolo-lola nyo, buhay na sila noong 1955. Nung panahong yun, ganito yung meaning ng computer. Ayan. And if you've also watched the movie Hidden Figures, you'll see that there is historical basis to this. Women were actually chosen to do computations required for the yung space exploration. So even during the 1960s, nung wala pang calculator na tulad ng iniisip natin calculator, ngayon hindi na nga desktop, marami nang may laptop, lumiliit na kasi nag-a-advance yung technology. But during this time, it was humans who actually did the computations. And why am I mentioning that? Because of the availability of technology, ayan, the goals of math have also changed. Dati, kailangan yung para masabing magaling ka sa math or para masabing na-train ka sa math, dapat kaya mong gawin yung ginagawa nitong mga babaeng ito. You should be able to calculate correctly. You should be able to calculate quickly. Yun yung goal. Kailangan mabilis ka, kailangan tama ka. Pero ngayon, nagbago na ang goals ng math. Hindi na pabilisan, hindi na pag-calculate. Okay? So kaya, 'di ba, familiar kayo sa 21st century skills? So 21st century skills are actually always emphasized by the DepEd. The teacher should be at the forefront of 21st century learning. So what does 21st century learning entail? It means being able to solve problems, being able to apply knowledge, hindi lang yung pag-calculate. So dito tayo mag-focus. 21st century learning, hindi na tayo mag-focus na puro calculation lang. Isipin nyo ngayon, statistics. Pag statistics ba, magra-run kayo ng ANOVA o ng t-test? Magagawa pa ba kayo ng calculator ng calculation? Hindi na. The focus is on the interpretation. So in the same way, for students, the focus should not just be on computation and calculation. We move on from that. We try to help them develop number sense. So paano ba natin gamitin yung calculator to develop number sense? Again, siguro ito yung isang reason bakit marami sa atin, nagsulat kanina na huwag gumamit ng calculator sa bata. Kasi ang iniisip natin, hindi sila matuto ng basic math. But remember, ano nakalagay dito? The goals of math have changed. Huwag tayong masyadong mapako na basic math lang or arithmetic yung matutunan ng mga bata. Because the goals of math have changed. We have to teach them 21st century skills, and that includes more authentic learning like problem solving. So, before, we focus on the 3 R's, reading, writing, and arithmetic. In the 21st century, we focus on higher order thinking skills. So again, babalik tayo dito sa topic ng ating talk. 21st century skills, to comprehend, to analyze, to think critically, to solve problems, and to process information in digital or in print. So, let me go back. I saw a comment earlier na mabuti daw na kahit grade 1, paggamitin ng calculator to satisfy their curiosity and to give added knowledge. Tama yun kasi, di ba, 21st century, alam nga naman hindi marunong humawak ng calculator yung mga bata. Dapat marunong sila. They have to be able to process information in digital or in print. So, let's look at this. Okay? Pag nagtuturo tayo, we also attend to 21st century skills. Hindi na yung puro reading, writing, arithmetic. Hindi yung puro calculation lang yung concern natin. We have to help them this. Many of you probably are aware that the Philippines has lagged behind the PISA assessments. The PISA assessment actually tests not knowledge of calculation, but paano mo ma-apply yung pag-calculate. So dito tayo mag-focus. Okay. So appeal na ang pag-compute daw sa sweldo. Ayan. So, ayan agree. Grade, isipin nyo di ba kung nagtuturo tayo ng trigonometry, or kahit yung tuturuan mo pa, una i-press nyo parenthesis muna. Tapos, hindi nila alam na yung scientific calculator, naka-MDAS pala yun. Tapos yung calculator na ordinary, na kung ano una mong tinype, yun yung ginagawa. So, paano nila matutunan yun? Hindi nila yan matutunan it's easier if we teach them in the classroom how to use the calculator. Minsan natatakot tayo yung teacher na gumamit sila palaging calculator to the point na 2022 na ngayon, magda-2023 na, hanggang ngayon, hindi pa rin sila nakakagamit ng calculator. Diba? So, we also introduce the use of the calculator. Using the calculator daw is one of the competency in grade 3. Also, bakit natin pipigilan? Diba? So, huwag tayong matakot. So, again, what I'm arguing here is it does not mean we use the calculator, hindi sila matuto. That's not true. Depende nga, yes, may topic siguro hindi natin papagamit, pero may topic pwede natin silang paggamitin. And in a recent talk, I also want to share with you, this is from UP Diliman. I heard Sir Ariel here mention about 21st century skills also. So, 21st century skills includes all of these. Tingnan nyo dati RRR lang. Ngayon, we also have critical thinking, problem solving, communication. You have to help students communicate their knowledge. So dumadami yung mga matutunan sana ng ating mga bata. Not just computation. Why? Because we are not training them to be computers. Katulad nila. tapos na yung panahong yun, 1950s, 1960s, we want to train students to be good in computing. But now, that's not what we want to do. We don't want them to be good computers. We want them to be problem solvers. We want them to develop critical thinking skills. Okay. Ayan o, even paggamit ng calcu para mag-solve ng quadratic formula, yan, lumalabas yung ating di ba? Ngayon, ma-realize natin. Kasi siguro sa elementary, natatakot tayong paggamitin sila ng calculator. Pagdating ng high school, hindi talaga sila marunong gumamit ng calculator. Tuturuan mo pa anong unang i-type. Square root ba? Parenthesis ba? Ayan. So, the importance of classroom tasks. What kinds of tasks do we give students in the classroom? Yun din, naiisip ba natin na hindi naman nila kaya yung mahirap, di ba? So, madali lang gawin natin para magawa nila, para hindi rin tayo mapagod. Actually, ako naman, balanse lang din. So, my students here in Cotabato, I cannot say that all of them are highly prepared for math. So, pwedeng para hindi ko na lang din pahirapan sila at para hirapan sarili ko, I'll just give them easy topics. But wala rin silang matutunan. So, kailangan dagdagan natin. We want to raise expectations. Okay, we give them the ample background, but we also try to raise up expectations. Have courage. Try to give students tasks that would foster thinking, collaboration, and communication. Ayan. Ayan. Basa-basa rin kayo ng comment. Marami kayong makita dyan. Ayan. So I think now after reading some of the comments also, I see that nagkakaroon din ng ng panibagong pananaw ang grupo na kanina wag gamitin, pero ngayon nakita dito na kahit gumamit pa lang calculator, sila pa rin naman na mag-design ng operation, etc. So ngayon happy daw siya, yung anak niya marunong na daw gumamit ng calculator. Ayan. So have courage. If we use technology, let's try to use it in a way that transforms learning. So I will provide more specific strategies later, pero ito transforms learning. Babalik tayo kay teacher 1, 2, and 3, yung pinakita ko kanina. Lahat kayo nag-agree, teacher 3 was the one who harnessed the use of technology. And that actually relates to the RAT framework. RAT framework, if you look at the screen now, replacement R for replacement, A for amplification, and T for transformation. So replacement in the framework means that we use technology to replicate an already existing or functioning method. Gumagana na yung method. Ba't pa natin siya papalitan? Katulad nito, example, instead of drawing a fraction on the blackboard, I will use PowerPoint. So that's replacement. Alright. Pwede naman palang walang technology. The method is already functioning. So, bakit pa natin gagamitin? So, ganun si teacher 1. Ayan. Amplification is the technology increases effectiveness or productivity, but there is no change in the tasks. So when we talk about amplification, we show, for example, more accurate pictures of the fraction. Okay. So hindi na yung bara-bara lang na drawing. So the technology actually makes the drawing more precise. Yeah. So yan yung amplification. And the third one, which is transformation, is technology transforms the instructional method, the students' learning processes, and or the actual subject matter. So you saw earlier, teacher 3 used dynamic software to show how the numerator or denominator affects the size of the fraction. So hopefully naalala niyo na si teacher 3, hindi lang siya nagpakita ng image ng fraction, pinakita niya yung effect ng numerator at denominator dun sa picture. So teacher 3 was able to transform instruction kasi hindi siya nag-focus lang sa pagiging quote-unquote, pagiging computer or calculator ng bata. Nag-focus siya na ma-develop ang 21st century skills ng bata. Ayan. So this is for high school. So replacement pa rin yung mag-drawing na parallel line. Pwede naman sa blackboard. Amplification, you show accurate pictures. Transformation, you show the dynamic images. Like, we were able to explore kailan ba nagiging congruent ang dalawang corresponding angles. So we have exploration. We were able to show non-parallel lines and also parallel lines. Ayan. So, the use, I hope you can read here from the Singapore Ministry of Education. Take note, Singapore is one of the highest, if not the highest, in terms of math learning in the world. And they are using calculators. But they use it in a particular way. So basahin natin to. The use of calculators aims to facilitate more exploratory approaches to the learning of concepts and allow students to focus on discovering patterns and making generalizations. It should also facilitate the use of more authentic data, which may be difficult to work with without calculators. So the focus is on more exploratory approaches, discovering patterns. So, ano pa ba nakalagay dito? Yap Banhar also identified tasks where performing calculations is not the primary learning goal. We don't need children to be fast. Calculators are fast. We need children to be thinkers. Again, this relates to 21st century skills. So, hindi natin goal na maging mabilis sila. Ang goal natin is mag-isip sila. Okay. So, let me go back to, I saw a comment here about, meron daw nakanganga sa pagdating daw sa board, hawd sa calcu, pero pag ipasolve nyo sa board, nakanganga. There are two ways that you can think about that. Marunong silang gumamit ng calcu. It means that the calculation is actually just a stumbling block for them. But if we provide them with the calcu, it eliminates the need for tedious calculations. And if we eliminate that need, kakayanin pala nilang mag-solve ng problem. So, sayang may mga ibang bata, kaya sana mag-solve, kaya lang because of their problems with elementary mathematics, yun yung nagiging hadlang sa kanila. So, hindi naman pwede na, dahil hindi sila marunong mag-add or mag-multiply ng mabilis, wala na silang, parang as much as possible, we don't want that to have a very large effect on their high school learning. So maybe we can use calculators to eliminate the need at times na, sige na, wag ka na mag-focus doon sa pag-calculate. Focus ka sa lesson natin. Ang lesson natin, trigonometry. Makuha mo ang meaning ng rise ng opposite over hypotenuse. O mag-gets niya yun. Kaysa yung, alam niyo yung hirap, we have what we call cognitive working memory. Kung iniisip mo paano mag-divide, tapos iniisip mo pa paano mag-opposite over hypotenuse, ang dami mo na masyado iniisip, it will actually prevent them from learning the higher math. But if we remove some of the difficulty, baka nga yun nga yung reason na mas makagawa din sila sa math. And later on, of course, in a separate session, we can help them do the division. Pero siguro one topic at a time. O ngayon, mag-focus tayo sa trigonometry. Bukas, sige, turuan ko kayo paano ba mag-divide kung walang calculator. Di ba? Para magamit na, anyway, my point is, huwag tayong matakot kung yung kailangan nila ng calculator if that's the only way that they can navigate through more advanced mathematics. Di ba? So, yon. So, let me give further details on what we have here. And I hope that this can also broaden the minds and ideas of the group na pwede palang gamitin yung calculator even for lower grades. Ayan. So, basahin niyo ulit to ha. The use of calculators aims to facilitate exploratory approaches, discovering patterns, and the use of more authentic data. Ayan. So, let me show you some examples. Traditionally, we ask this, calculate 2 to the 5th. But calculators will allow students to answer this deeper problem. What's the ones digit of 2 to the 500? Subukan nyo to sa calculator. Hindi ito kakasya. 2 to the 500, kahit anong calculator nyo, hindi nyo makuha yung buong value. So, in order to solve this kind of problem, they have to search through patterns. Okay, there's not enough time in this seminar para gawin natin to, but my point here is, calculator ang kailangang gamitin para ma-investigate nila yung pattern. Ano ba yung pattern ng ones digit? Actually, pag ones digit, parang 2 times 2 is 4, times 2, 8. 8 times 2, 16. 16 times 2, 32. Babalik na naman sa 2 yung ones digit, no? So may pattern tayo, 2486, 2486, 2486. You can do that using a calculator. Pag tens digit, medyo mas mahaba yung pattern. But the calculator will allow you to do that. Okay, so this is an example where the calculator will allow students to focus on discovering patterns and making generalizations. Another example, calculate 13 times 62. Okay. Normal to, makalculate nyo 13 times 62. Pag ginawa nyo investigative, please calculate, sandali, nagkamali ako dito. 13 times 62, sige, ano nga yung sagot ng 13 times 62? Okay, let's calculate. 13 times 62. 13 times 62, 806. Okay? Okay. Tapos, sorry, nawala na yung slide ko na yan. Sandali para, sorry, I wasn't able to, okay. Now use your calculator to compute 26 times 31 or 31, you replace the digits. 31 times 26. Sige. If you calculate 31 times 26, you will also get 806. All right? So here all the digits are different. Find 5 other pairs of such numbers and describe how the digits are related to each other. So notice here, in the traditional way that we use calculators in the classroom, okay, we just use it to calculate. Pero dito, ayan, nung napansin ng mga tao, it has the same answer. 13 times 62, tsaka 31 times 26. Nung binaliktad ko yung dalawang digits, pareho pa rin yung sagot. All the digits are different, find 5 other pairs. So ngayon, gagamit sila ng calcu, mahirap naman imano-mano yan, di ba? So, pero dito, this is an example of a question that will develop higher order thinking skills. They will try to solve problems. Paano gagamitin ang calculator? How will you use a calculator in order to solve this problem? So of course, you'll try many products, tapos titingnan nyo yung pattern, di ba? So dito, lumalabas dito yung, again, the use of the calculator so that students can focus on discovering patterns and making generalizations. So again, what I'm driving at here is that many of us, we fear, huwag tayong gumamit ng calculator sa classroom kasi hindi matuto yung bata. Pero dito, makikita natin, calculators are not just there for calculation. Calculators can actually help students turn their attention to higher order thinking, such as through these problems where they are expected to discover patterns and make generalizations. So, depende yan sa atin, depende yan sa teacher. Teacher 1, 2, or 3 ka ba? Or, ikaw ba yung tipong teacher na papagamit mo yung calculator para solve ito? Or ikaw ba yung teacher na papagamit ang calculator para mag-investigate yung mga bata tulad ng nakikita natin dito sa second column? So it's really up to us teachers. Ayan. This is again another example. In a traditional task, this is for calculus naman, we have here the cost and revenue function. Ayan. Tingnan nyo naman yung cost and revenue function. It's very unlikely for real-world data to be this clean. Tingnan nyo yung cost function niya, 5x plus 2,340. Tapos yung revenue, 40x minus 0.1x squared. Medyo hindi talaga, it's very unlikely. Okay? Na yung actual data mo, ganito kalinis tingnan yung mga numbers. And the reason na ganito yan, kasi madali siyang i-calculate. But if we allow the use of calculator, students may work with more authentic data. For example, here, table 3 shows the price, demand, and total cost for production of treadmills. So we can actually give them data, and then they can use the calculator to first get the linear regression equation bago pa sila makakuha ng cost and revenue function. So calculators can, again, allow us to move away from easy numbers. Hindi lang yung mga numbers na bibigay natin sa classroom, puro madadali. Bakit? Kasi sa totoong buhay, hindi naman ganito yung, pag pumunta tayo sa palengke or sa grocery, we will not see these kinds of functions. Instead, we will see data like this. And how do we handle data? Calculators can enable us to handle data. So yon. So this drives to the second point in the Singapore statement earlier, that calculators will allow students to work with authentic data. Ayan. So to summarize the first part, okay, using technology, okay, can develop higher order thinking skills. Okay. So pwede ba, does technology guarantee that we develop higher order thinking skills? So from the first part of the lesson, or from the first part of this seminar, technology is not a guarantee. Ayan, hindi So hindi ibig sabihin pag gumagamit ng technology, siguradong meron ng higher order thinking skills. Kasi depende yan sa ating teachers, paano natin gamitin ang technology. Are we using it like teacher 1, teacher 2, or teacher 3? Or another example is, are we using it in the traditional way, or in a way that students can work with authentic data, or in a way where students can develop 21st century skills. So depende yan sa atin. Yung calculator ba para lang sa pag-calculate, or para maka-develop ng 21st century skills. Now, let me move on to the reverse. Are higher order thinking skills a guarantee or the use of technology? Meaning, if you want to develop higher order thinking skills, kailangan ba ng technology? Yes or no? Sulat kayo sa chat box. So, if you use higher order thinking skills, should you use technology? Kailangan ba yung technology? Okay. So, anong sagot? May no, may dalawang yes, no, no. Okay. Kasi ngayon, 21st century na tayo, we want to develop higher order thinking skills. So in order to develop higher order thinking skills, do we need to use technology? And many of us are answering yes. Kasi kanina, katulad dito, sinasabi natin, okay, technology is actually helpful, okay, in developing higher order thinking skills if we use technology well. Pero binaliktad ko ngayon, if you want to develop higher order thinking skills, kailangan nyo bang gumamit ng technology? And many are answering yes, with a few no's. Okay, may mga ibang nag-no. So let me cite with you an example in Japan. Kanina Singapore, ngayon Japan. So I'm actually showing you examples from high-performing countries in mathematics. Okay? Tingnan nyo sa Japan. Siyempre, we assume that they are developing higher order thinking skills, the fact that they are way, way, way above the Philippines in math. Yan. But look at their classroom. Gumagamit ba sila ng technology dito? Tingnan nyo dito sa classroom na ito. Wala. Diba? So, in this question, does the development of higher order thinking skills need the use of technology? Short answer, hindi sana. No. Why? Look at Japan. In their math classrooms, in one of the most advanced nations in the world, they don't use technology when they don't need to. But they are still developing higher order thinking skills. In fact, they have such a long-standing practice on the use of blackboards. So improving blackboard organization to enhance mathematical thinking. So they actually have many documents that demonstrate the effective use of blackboards. Tayo, inisip natin, huwag tayo gumamit ng blackboard. Tingnan yung Japan, gumagamit ng blackboard. And they have a reason for using blackboards. And if you look at their use of blackboards in this graph, makita ninyo, the pink bar will show what remains on the blackboard. The blue bar shows yung mga binura nila, what they erased. Look at Japan. They don't erase what they wrote. Okay? Konti lang syempre ma-erase nila, no? But most of the time, they do not erase what they wrote. Unlike in other countries, erase ng erase. Minsan napapansin ko yung mga estudyante ko, pag nagsusulat may solution, erase nila. Ayaw nilang makita ko yung solution. Because for students, parang dumi yun eh. Minsan tinuturo natin, ay dumi yan, madumi paper. But I always tell my students, okay yan sa akin pag madumi paper ninyo. Kasi ibig sabihin, nag-isip kayo. Diba? Kaysa yung malinis, hindi ko alam kung nag-isip kayo. We always welcome evidence of thinking. And in Japan, look at their blackboard. Ang daming nakasulat. Oh. Ayan, ang daming nakasulat. Because they don't erase something that's important. They don't erase evidence of student thinking, kahit mali. Okay. And they actually have identified the ways that they can use blackboards in various levels. First is to record information. That's why they don't erase. Then to make connections between what they record. Okay. To compare and discuss. And then also note-taking. Katulad nito. Okay. Hindi sila, student work, nandyan lang sa blackboard. Hindi nga yan PowerPoint. Ayan. So they compare and discuss. And these are more examples of the use of Blackboard for comparing and discussing. Okay. And at the very highest level, they use the Blackboard for higher order thinking. So they use it for reflective comments and students thinking. So again, a short answer to the question, do we need to use technology in order to develop higher order thinking skills? No, because the Blackboard, as you can see in Japan, the use of the Blackboard can enable us to develop higher order thinking skills. Ayan, look at the use of the Blackboard. They use it to spur further discussion, to develop ideas. Unlike here in the Philippines, we use the Blackboard just to state theorems or to state facts. But in Japan, they use the Blackboard to encourage thinking and to encourage discussion. So ito yung mga nakita nyo kanina. Okay, so it's just clearer here in this slide. Okay. So going back to our country, in the Philippines, should all teachers be required to use technology? Required ba gumamit ng PowerPoint? Required ba, di ba minsan, minsan gumagamit PowerPoint kasi iniisip natin yun kasi yung ini-expect ng ating head teacher or yun ini-expect ng ating principal or supervisor. So in connection to that, my question is, should we use technology as the basis for deciding whether a teacher teaches well? Diba? Yeah, no, marami na nagsabing no. Tingnan nyo, maraming no. So, diba, hindi naman, ibig sabihin, pag gumagamit ka ng technology, bakit pag hindi ka gumamit ng technology, hindi ka magaling. Pag gumamit ka, magaling ka na kaagad, ganun ba yun? Sabi ni Sir Dennis, correct. Kay naabagay ICT integration sa COT. Iyon yung problema. Tingnan natin Dahil sa COT, yung expectation is gagamit tayo ng technology. It's as if the COT is telling us, kapag hindi ka gumamit ng technology, hindi maganda yung pagtuturo mo. Pero bakit sa Japan hindi ganon? It's not just because you use the Blackboard. It does not mean na hindi ka magaling magturo. Pwede ka gumamit ng Blackboard. In fact, they encourage the use of the Blackboard. Ayan, no. Kailangan daw sa COT. Ayan, so babalikan natin ang COT. And in fact, it's very sad for me. I heard this from one of the teachers. Sabi niya, ma'am, sa reality talaga sa classroom situation, aminin man natin o hindi, gumagamit talaga tayo ng chalk. Ganito kasi ma'am, especially kung may mag-observe. Ayan, siguro yung COT sinasabi ninyo. Yan. Kung may mag-observe, pag gumamit ka ng chalk and board, parang kababa talaga ng tingin sa inyo. O, ayan. So, minsan, ito yung iniisip natin kasi we are forced to use technology. We are forced to use technology not because we want to and not because the lesson calls for it, but the primary reason that some of us are using technology, especially kung may nag-o-observe, katulad ng nakalagay dito, is dahil ang ini-expect sa atin ng nag-o-observe, gumamit ng technology. Pag hindi ka gumamit ng technology, ito kababa daw talaga ng tingin sa'yo. So pag hindi ka gumamit ng technology, masiro ka na doon. So I really do hope that this opens the minds of everyone na hindi ibig sabihin na pag hindi gumamit ng technology, hindi ka na magaling magturo. Pwede ka naman maging magaling magturo kahit na hindi ka gumamit ng technology. So I hope that kung hindi pa kayo supervisor, pag naging supervisor kayo, I hope that you open your minds. Huwag nyo lang tingnan kung gumamit ng technology o hindi. Tingnan nyo kung paano ginamit. Was the teacher able to develop higher order thinking skills? Baka naman si teacher, ginawa lang yung kanina pinakita ko si teacher 1, 2, 3. Baka naman kay teacher 1 lang. Pwede naman pala isulat sa blackboard. Ba't pag gumamit ng PowerPoint? if we use technology, we want to use technology in a way that maximizes its potential, di ba? Yung we show dynamic images, hindi lang yung pwede naman pala sa Blackboard. Nahirapan ka pa, instead na mag-drawing ka sa Blackboard, gumawa ka pa ng bilog sa PowerPoint, it will take time. So, kung hindi pala kailangan, bakit natin pipilitin? We cite the experience in Japan where they continue to use blackboards even if they are one of the most advanced nations on earth. And many of you mentioned the COT. Actually, nakalagay yan dito. Ayan. Selects, develops, and organizes and uses teaching learning resources. Nakalagay lang naman dito including ICT. So hindi naman ibig sabihin na kailangan merong ICT. Ay, di ba? So hindi kailangan may ICT. So again, I hope that this clarifies the COT to teachers and also to supervisors, not to just give yung automatic score of perfect pag may PowerPoint. 0 kapag walang PowerPoint. Mababa ang tingin pag walang PowerPoint. Mababa ang tingin pag may Blackboard. Hindi. Titingnan natin paano nagamit yung technology. Diba? So, tingnan natin ang ating mga ayan. Dagdag points daw kasi yung technology. Yun nga sana. Dapat hindi ganun. Diba? So, wag isipin na dapat yung gumagawa ng points, hindi rin dapat na titingnan nyo lang kung gumamit ng technology. Look at the title of this lecture, the use of technology for developing higher order thinking skills. So we look beyond whether they are using technology or not. Instead, we look at whether they are using technology effectively. So doon tayo titingin, effective ba yung paggamit ng technology? Ayan, magbasa pa tayo ng comments. So maganda. Both po ginagawa ko, gamit talaga ng chalk, okay, and more samples. So ayan, tingnan niyo si Ma'am Hazel, gumagamit ng chalk. Ibig ba sabihin, pag gumagamit siya ng chalk, hindi siya magaling na teacher? Hindi dapat, di ba? Kasi alam niya na may mga bahagi na mas maganda talagang gumamit ng Blackboard. So, ito naman, Project CCPA. I opted to make action research. Okay? Kaso I did not pursue. Baka magalit daw. Ayun pa. Sana magalit daw si school head. Ako. So, hopefully for the school heads and future school heads here, tingnan din natin, no? Paano ginagamit yung technology. Okay? We also recognize that importance of the Blackboard. Look at Japan. Ayan, I agree. Oh. Paano yung mga ibang teacher na hindi naman din sanay gumamit ng technology? Hindi naman ibig sabihin na hindi sila makapagturo ng magaling, di ba? So, gamitin ang Blackboard na in a good way. We use appropriate tasks. Yan. Yun talaga ang gusto nila. Kasi pag hindi ka gumamit, kulelat ka talaga sa rating mo. Yun ang problema dahil yun ang gusto ng mga boss. Well, ang masabi ko dyan, wala tayong magawa. Kung yun ang gusto ng boss, we comply. We use technology. But pagka next time na gumamit tayo ng technology, we also try to use it effectively. Okay? Not just in the way that teacher 1 uses technology, but in a way that teacher 3 uses technology. Mas mapawaw pa natin yung boss natin. Diba, meron tayong RAT framework. If we can use technology not just as replacement, but as transformation. Yun yung ating gagawin. Okay? Gumamit ka naman talaga ng chalkboard to show solution. Ayan. So, mostly chalk. So, ayan. So, from Ma'am Jessie, chalkboard is actually part of educational technology. Yes, even the pencil, that's a form of technology. It depends on the definition of technology. Yan. So, basta pa tayo dito. Board work pag math. Sa MOA, ma'am, kay wala may kuryente. Tama. O, pag walang kuryente, ibig ba sabihin, hindi na pwede mag-develop ng higher order thinking skills? Hindi rin. In fact, in one of my classes here in Cotabato, naka-prepare na ako, okay na, nandun na lahat ng mga GeoGebra applets ko, gumagalaw na lahat ng points na gusto kong paggalawin. Pagdating ko sa classroom, wala palang saksakan. So, wala talaga, hindi wala. I have to teach the traditional way, but it does not mean that the students did not learn higher order thinking. Diba? So yan, wag lang tayong sarado sa isip na kailangan talaga ng technology. Yan. So yan, we can see traditional yet very effective. So mukhang marami tayong I'll just scroll through, no? So the others can also look at the responses. Sana allowed yun din. Tama. In many of the exam, students are not allowed to use calculators. So hindi rin, so kailangan talaga natin silang turuan mag-compute. Yun din. Yan. So chalkboard is really useful in making solution. Prepared na ang lahat, then nag-brown out. Ayun. Oh, so tama yun. Dapat ready tayo with or without technology. Okay. Oh, gamitin ay traditional way. So siguro ang comment ko rin sa inyo, pag sinabing chalkboard, huwag nyo rin isiping traditional. Kasi yung pag sinabing traditional, minsan meron siyang notion na hindi maganda, di ba? We use the chalkboard in an effective way. So 'di ba? So hindi negative yung paggamit ng chalk. So again, balikan niyo tong si Japan, 'di ba? Look at Japan. They use the chalkboard very effectively. So yan, pwede ninyong gamitin yung dalawa. But again, yung iba sa inyo, pag ang expectation sa inyo gumamit ng technology, then by all means use technology, but please use technology in a way that amplifies or transforms, not just replaces instruction. Okay. So yan. So it's already 9:49. It's almost 1.5 hours. Maybe we can have a try natin 10-minute break. Let's come back at 10. Because at 10 o'clock, I'll be showing examples naman. Kanina kasi it's more of nagdi-discuss lang tayo. Ngayon, may example tayo para medyo mas mas makita ninyo ano yung pwede ninyong piliin para sa sarili ninyong classroom. And just continue writing in the chat box if ever so that others can also see. I'll also read your responses. Sige, Ma'am Ria, can we have a 10-minute break?
Sure, Doc
Sige,
Debbie.
I'll stop my screen first para Okay.
Break muna po tayo, dear teachers. You can have coffee or CR break po muna tayo. We come back after 10 minutes.
Okay, so we're back now. Hopefully you got to rest, and maybe some of you medyo baka pwedeng pag-isipan din natin yung mga binanggit kanina umaga, not just by myself but also by your co-participants. Marami kayong mapupulot sa mga kasama ninyo kasi kayo yung mga magkasama sa SD, so sa DDO, sa SD DDO, so mas alam niyo yung kalagayan ng bawat isa, di ba? So I hope that I've made some points that you can think about in your own situation. Like number one, we can use calculators even for younger grades, and more about that this afternoon. And also that we don't need to use technology, okay, all the time. Pwede palang magturo ng maayos kahit walang technology. And number three, if we are going to use technology, we should use it in a way that, if you see here in the screen, in a way that amplifies or transforms that transforms learning. So we don't just use the technology to replace what's already working. Kung gumagana na yung blackboard, hindi kailangan yung technology. But by all means, if there are some activities where you can use technology, where technology can transform learning, transform curriculum goals, then we use technology. What do I mean by transform? Yung transform, again, hindi lang yung mag-focus tayo na maging magaling mag-compute or calculate yung bata, because that is a 20th century skill, 1950s. But now it's already the 21st century. So we want to use technology in order to help students develop 21st century skills. So again, yung tatlo na binanggit natin kanina, number one, pwedeng gamitin yung technology even for younger learners. Pangalawa, hindi kailangan gumamit ng technology, especially if pwede naman gumamit ng chalk and board like in Japan. And number three, if we use technology, then we try to use it in order to develop 21st century skills or higher order thinking skills. Now let's move on to more examples. Okay? Kasi marami na akong binanggit, medyo theory, nasa theory level pa lang. So we'll now explore some of the technologies that are available, and all of the technologies that I will show you now are free kasi syempre gusto natin yung madaling ma-access ng mga teachers at ng mga estudyante. Tapos Katulad ng sinabi ko dun sa umpisa nitong session, hindi lahat ito ay magagamit ninyo kasi syempre iba-iba yung inyong mga sitwasyon sa eskwelahan, iba-iba yung tinuturo ninyo. So you can choose to explore whatever fits your context. Okay? So first is I want to share with you an example of how technology can be used for amplification. So this is something that is may angat dito yung technology compared sa pen and paper. And what I'll show you is www.myopenmath.com. This is free. And maybe some of you have already seen it, but what I'll do is I'll show you some of the ways that I've used it. Okay. So, punta tayo sa www.myopenmath.com at ito siya. Actually, I will log off para makita ninyo ano yung itsura ng screen sa una. So, ganito lang yung itsura niya. Actually, kaya ako to pinakita kasi nung the first time that I encountered, sandali, bababa ko nga to. Paano ba ito? Hindi ko alam kung may rectangle sa inyo, but anyway, this is the, sandali para makita ninyo yung buong screen. Ayan. Nung una kong nakita itong My Open Math, sabi ko parang napakasimple ng website, hindi kumbaga walang dating. It's not attractive, not very attractive. But then when I started using it during the pandemic, nakita ko ang gandang gamitin na even now during face-to-face, I use it for my classes kahit na nagkikita na kami. So bakit nga ba, anong meron dito sa My Open Math? So again, this is free, so I'll just log in first. Wait lang. Okay. And when you log in, okay, I have here a demonstration. Okay. So you can actually give a sample lesson. For example, meron kayong ginawang video, so pwede ninyong ilagay dito yung link. So kunwari may video ako, so mapunta kayo sa isang video like that. You can have PDF files or whatever. And yung highlight talaga nito will be on the way that you can use My Open Math for formative assessment. So halimbawa ito, gumawa ako ng formative assessment. So tingnan niyo yung mga questions na pwedeng magawa dito. Okay. Draw a line with slope 1 and y-intercept 0, -3. So kunwari y-intercept ko 0, -3, tapos gagawa ako slope 1. Gawin nating mali. So this is incorrect. Okay. The students can actually check their answer. Makikita niya mali. Okay. Tapos, later on, after they end the assessment, they will see feedback. So katulad nito, what is the slope? Tapos may mga video help dito. You can make video help. If not, may feedback kasi ano bang slope nito? Hindi ko masyadong makita, but it looks like 2 units, 5. So maybe -2/5. If you give a correct answer, then may feedback ka agad. Next question. Okay. Question 3. Pag calculus, pwede rin magsulat na expression. Maglagay lang ako, kunwari, lahat ito mali. So just for the sake of demonstration, check answer, and then you can move on to the last question. Okay. Ito, na-integrate pa yung GeoGebra dito. Okay. So there is a graph here that you can move. Enter the function. So mag-enter ka ng function. Kunwari, f of x equals x squared. Ganyan. Check answer. Okay. And then the student can submit. Okay. After the student submits, makikita niya ngayon kung ano yung tama at mali niya. Tapos mababalikan niya. Pag kina-review, makikita niya dito yung answer key. So, yan, ito tama ako. So, ito yung answer key. So, lahat makikita yung answer key. So, actually, I use this for my students. And the thing is, they tend not to copy each other kasi yun yung problema minsan sa online, kopya sila ng kopya doon sa classmate nila. Bakit hindi sila kokopya? Kasi every time that they take the assessment, actually bawat isa sa kanila, iba-iba yung tanong. Kung napansin nyo, ngayon iba na yung tanong, kanina 0, -3, ngayon 0, 3 na. Tapos yung slope ay 1, ganyan. So, if you move on to the next question, you'll have another question. Hindi na to -2/5 yung slope. So, if you have 50 students, ang mangyayari niyan, silang 50, all of them will have different questions. So wala masyadong sense na magkopyahan kasi iba-iba sila ng tanong. Tapos they also see instant feedback like what I showed earlier. So kunwari maglagay ka ng answer dyan, yan. So check nila kaagad after they submit. So after they submit, okay, so the students can actually review their questions. So like what I showed earlier. So let's move on to the other demonstration. You can actually use My Open Math for formative assessment or for summative assessment. Pag summative assessment naman, medyo mas ano na to, mas seryoso na. So yung kaninang formative, actually I allow students to take the assessment 2 or 3 times so that they can look at the correct answers and then repeat. Tapos normally pag ginagawa ko yun, pag repeat nila, mas mataas na yung score nila. Ibig sabihin kahit wala pala ako sa tabi nila, sila mismo natututo. They get to improve on their scores. So yun yung paraan ko na magamit siya as formative assessment. They repeat it, look at the correct answers, then they learn, then when they repeat it, mas okay na sila. Pag summative naman ay ganito, if they start, meron ng message talaga, it has a time limit. Do you want to start? So medyo mas seryoso na. Actually, may option din na walang time limit. Tapos, may grade siya afterwards. So anyway, later on, let's say the student submits, meron na siyang grade. So pagka-summative, hindi ko rin pinapakita yung scores kaagad kasi para hindi rin sila magkopyahan. So again, ang maganda dito sa My Open Math is, if you have 50 students, if you have 100 students, iba-iba sila ng tanong. And it would really be very helpful even after the pandemic. Kasi katulad nga sabi ko, yung mga estudyante ko ngayon, sinasabi ko sa kanila, mag-practice kayo sa My Open Math. Tapos mag-practice sila. Tapos mag-quiz tayo pagbalik. So the next meeting, mag-quiz kami, natuto na sila sa My Open Math. Diba? So ito po yung ating My Open Math. That's an example of technology as amplification. So kung medyo nawala na tayo, ano nga pinagsasabi ko amplification, I'm going back to my RAT framework. In the first part of this session, I discussed teacher 1, teacher 2, and teacher 3. So nasa teacher 2 level tayo, but that's okay. Basta wag lang sana tayo sa R. Okay? So we have R80. Now, para medyo kayo mas maka-evaluate ng technology, mas maganda kasi kung kayo mismo maka-assess kung anong klaseng technology meron. Because why? You will be the ones who will decide on the kinds of technology that you will use in your classes. So maganda, in order to decide properly, it's good if you can use the RAT framework well. So I'll show you technology, and then you just type later in the chat box what kind of technology is that. So one of the examples I'll show you is from this website. So later on, I will be giving you a copy of the slides so you can actually go through the links. Tapos hindi ko naman daanan lahat ito, masyadong marami. Yun nga, pwede kayong pumili kung ano yung magagamit niyo sa situation nyo. Now, I want to look at math. So math pinili ko. And then you can choose among many apps here. Okay, merong pang, pwede kayo pumili dito ng grade level. You can filter, middle school, or whatever. All right. So I'll focus specifically on this one. We have this applet, the arithmetic applet. So what's the arithmetic applet? Ito siya. Okay. So tingnan natin. So kumukuha lang ako ng mga sample dito. Yan. Yan. So this is the applet. Let me play. Yan. Okay. So let's say I want to work on multiplication. So here I have here a question. 5 times 3, the answer is 15. Check. Ayan siya, 15. 6 times 3 equals 18. So itatype ko 18. Ko kunwari 2 times 1. Actually, I'm not sharing the sound, but there is sound effects here. So going back to my question, what kind of technology is this? Yung what I just showed you, yung arithmetic. Choose among R80 in the RAT framework. Sige. So I'll wait for your responses in the chat box. Do you think this is an R, an A, or a T? Okay? Let's look for more responses. Maraming A and T. Okay. So the purpose of this activity, no, kailangan maka-evaluate kayo anong klaseng technology kasi kayo yung pipili sa dami ng technology na available. Dapat alam natin kung alin yung pipiliin natin. Okay. So many of you actually answered A or D. Yan, maraming A or T talaga. However, I would argue that this is an R. Nasa replacement pa lang tayo. So ano nga ba yung replacement? Technology serves as a different or digital means of the same instructional practice. Kasi bakit R yung nasabi ko? I know you may have your reasons for A or T. Okay? Siguro ngayon hindi ko na muna tatanungin kasi maubos tayo ng time and I want to show many other apps. Pero bakit ko napili siya na R? Kasi imagine niyo ito, kaya naman natin itong gawin sa Blackboard. Sulat nyo yan, 1 to 6. Sulat nyo pababa, 1 to 6. So, bakit pa tayo mag-effort na gumamit ng technology? Pwede naman kayo na yung magbigay ng feedback. 5 times 4 equals 20. Kung sinabi yung estudyante, 21. Feedback nyo naman na mali. Diba? So there's really no reason for us to use technology if we will just use technology in this way. So ito yung sinasabi ko, no? Sana ang isipin natin is kung gumamit tayo ng technology, kailangan ba talaga ng technology? Baka naman pampaganda lang, di ba? So kasi ito pwede namang sa Blackboard. So there's really syempre there may be an advantage. Maganda yung kulay, could be interesting, it could be fun. Okay, ma-enjoy nila yung mga kulay, di ba? But in that sense, maybe hanggang doon lang siya. This sort of app is quite limited. Okay, kasi marami pang iba. Bakit yan ang piliin nyo? Marami pang iba. So, ito, I would argue this is an R. So, yun, pampaganda lang daw, di ba? So, many of you actually, at the start of this session, marami nagsabi, why you use technology? Because it's fun, it's engaging. I'm actually challenging you to go deeper than that. Wag lang gawing fun, wag lang gawing engaging, pero gamitin ang technology to help students think more. Diba? So yun yung challenge ko sa inyo na wag lang fun. Yan. Paano talaga magamit na mas mapaisip sila. Ayan. So R. Yan, pwede lang Blackboard. O mas naintindihan ko na ngayon ang RAT. Salamat po. Hopefully, because really if we can apply the RAT, ang dami sobra kasing technology sa internet. Malulula kayo. Pero alin doon gagamitin nyo sa classroom, di ba? So makatulong ang RAT. Let's look at this one. Okay. In this app, okay, so there is a balancing app. Dito na lang tayo sa ano. So pag tinanggal tong mga bar na ito, yan, kailangan kasi magbalanse. So kunwari lalagay ko 5 kilograms, lagyan ko rin ng 5 kilograms, yun. 10 kilograms, 10 kilograms. Okay. Pag tinanggal ko yung poste, mag-balance ba sila? Yes. Pag ilipat ko to dito, or yung 10 kilograms, ilagay ko dito sa taas na, o dyan, hindi sila nagbalanse. Pero pag yung 10, ilipat ko dito, teka lang, ilipat natin dito, magbalanse sila. Ayan. So, what do you think? Is this R, A, or T? O yan. Ito, marami ng T yung nagsulat. T. Siguro marami na nag-iisip, kaya ba itong gawin sa Blackboard? Medyo, kasi itong part na ito, yung tatanggalin niyo yung balanse, mahirap to gawin sa Blackboard, di ba? Oh, so here, yes, I think A or T would be acceptable because, di ba, it's an amplification. The technology adds to the existing, no? Hindi to kaya gawin sa Blackboard. At the same time, depende rin sa kinds of questions that you can ask, no? The way that you ask the questions, it can actually transform learning. Hindi lang yung mag-calculate, but you can ask them deeper questions. You can ask them to explore o mag-explore kayo. Gusto kong gamitin niyo yung 15 saka yung 20. Can you use the 15 and the 20 kilograms to balance the slide? Yung mga ganon. So if we allow them to explore, ano yung sabi kanina sa Singapore, if you use the technology to explore or to find patterns or generalizations, then that's a form of transformation. Okay? Pero pag kagamitin lang natin to as a visual help, it's an amplification. Okay? So, pwede nyo naman kasing i-design yung lesson ninyo na mag-explore sila eh. O, explore ninyo yung 15 tsaka 20, ano yung mga patterns, yung mga ganon. Possible outdoor activity, naku, napakahirap nito kasi unang-una, mahirap makahanap ng 20 kilograms saka 15 kilogram halimbawa. Pero, syempre, by all means, kung kayang gawa ng paraan, why not? So yan, at least marami nagsulat ngayon ng ng A, tsaka T. Okay? So kung pipili kayo kung ano mas magandang technology, kung ito or ito, mas magandang paggamit yung ito, di ba? Because this one does not really add to what you can do on the board. Okay? And there are also some apps for fractions like this one. Kaya ang kagandahan ng mga ito, libre naman siya. So here, students can actually work with fractions. Many times, students just manipulate the numbers, add the numerator, add the denominator. And the reason for that is they don't see what it means for two fractions to be equal. Pero dito makita nyo, pag 3/5 equal siya sa 6/10, equal siya sa 9/15. Ayan. So, and you also have various models. You have a rectangle, okay? This kind of rectangle also. There's also a cylinder. So you can choose whatever model is appropriate, okay? So what do you think is this kind of technology? R, A, or T? Yan, maraming T. Okay, let's look for responses. You can type. Okay, mukhang T talaga. So, actually, this can be an A or a T. Again, kailan magiging T? Depends on the questions. Yung question nyo, makadevelop ba ng higher order thinking skill or pang-calculation lang? Ayan. But at least this is not an R. Alright. So, I won't explore all the others. You can actually explore more on your own if that's your topic, fractions. Pero, kung mabalikan natin yung itong main website niya, yan marami kayong mapili eh. Depende, pwede kasi kayong mag-filter according to grade level. So yan, grade school, high school, may high school, ganyan. So kayo na lang mamili. Okay? So at the end of the session. Yan, sorry, tapos na siya. So, moving on to another one. So these are all still from the same website. So I won't run through all of them. Again, you can choose whatever fits your topic or your grade level. Desmos, probably some of you or maybe many of you have heard of Desmos. Pero minsan kasi pag kahit alam natin, minsan hindi tayo nag-explore, hindi natin alam yung mga bago. Actually, matagal ko na alam to, pero nung tumitingin-tingin ako recently, marami silang mga bago activities. So you can select, marami. So I actually will choose one of these activities, itong marble slide. So if your topic is on, what do you call this? If our topic is on linear equations, maganda ito. Okay? Sir or ma'am, Sir Jimbert, tinanong niya, do we have an offline version? Actually, hindi ako sigurado, pero feeling ko itong mga to baka wala. Maybe online. But I'm not sure. You have to explore kung meron. If, ang ginagawa ko minsan, pag walang offline version, tapos wala ako internet sa classroom, I just use screenshots kahit papaano. So, doon na lang ako So, itong marble slide, pakita ko sa inyo. Actually, the goal of this app is to launch the ball. Tingnan nyo, may bola dito. Kailangan matamaan niya yung stars. Ayan, katulad niyan. So, yan yung kailangan natin gawin. Okay. So, for example, here, the line is y equals 1/2 x plus 1. Masyadong mataas. So ang gagawin ko, I will type a different line. Ipapababa ko yung line. So I'll make the line lower. So I'll type 1/2 x. Okay? 1/2 x, ito na yung pula, no? Kulang pa. Mag-minus ako. -1 siguro. Kulang pa yung -1. -2. Pwede yung -2. Nakita nyo? So nag-a-adjust ako. -1, masyado pang mataas. So i-2 ko. Pag -2 ko, if I launch it, okay, so hindi na ito, no? If I launch the ball, yan, matamaan niya yung mga stars. Yan yung marble slide. Okay, let's have another one. Okay. So katulad nito, y equals 4x plus 3. If I launch now, yung bola mahulog lang. Kaya nga kailangan ko i-adjust itong line para pag launch ko ng bola, hindi siya mahulog lang. So y equals 4x plus 3, masyadong steep yung kanyang line. So baka hindi dapat 4 yung slope, baka dapat 2. Ay kulang pa. What if dapat 1? Parang kulang pa. What if dapat 1/2? Ayan. So if I launch the ball, then I can hit all the stars. Ayan. So I won't go through all the others, pero maraming activities to, tuloy-tuloy. And it's actually challenging. Kahit sa teachers, ito medyo pababa pa. So I urge you, try nyo. Maganda rin ito. So what kind of technology is this? R, A, or T? Okay. So you can type. So the marble slide I just showed you, is that, do you think, an R, A, or T? I think here many of you are agreeing this is a T. O, diba? So ang concern natin hindi lang pagturo ng how to compute the slope, how to calculate, diba? Y-intercept, but it's actually going to encourage critical thinking and problem solving. Like, how will you adjust the line? So I would also agree with you that this is a T. Ayan. Okay, so yan yung Desmos. So, syempre GeoGebra, marami sa inyo gumamit na ng GeoGebra. Ang maganda rin sa GeoGebra, una, libre. Pangalawa, marami na siyang topic dito. So like if you want to type any topic, kunwari gusto nyo i-type similar triangles, yan. If you type similar triangles, then you can actually find many apps already. Okay, so yan yung GeoGebra. Again, all the links will be in the slides that I will show you or I will share with you later. But I will focus on some of the activities in GeoGebra na baka hindi nyo pa masyadong nakakita. So let me start with this. Ito kasi naging viral din to. Maganda yung, there is this game na sumikat din siya sa internet. It's based on words, but here in GeoGebra, there is a number. Kumbaga instead of words, naging number. Tapos you can only play once a day. So, hintayin lang natin mag-load. Alright. So, let's wait for this to load. Wait. Ayan. So here, how this works is I will type a problem. So for example, if I type, saan na ba yun? Dito pala ako dapat mag-type. 48, ayan, lumabas, no? 48 plus, let's say, 25. Okay, 48 plus 25. Ano ba yung 48 plus 25? So mag-answer na tayo. So the answer is 73. Tama ba? 73. So I'll write 0 first. 73, enter. Yeah. So this is the equation. Okay. Anong meaning ng mga colors? What the colors mean is there is a 4. Kumbaga may target, may tamang equation dito tayo hinahanap. Dahil brown siya, it means na merong 4 somewhere, kaya lang maling pwesto ng 4. Tapos itong 8250, wala na talagang 8250 sa ating equation at any point. 7 and 3, because they're brown, again, merong 7 and 3 dito, pero nasa maling pwesto. So you can try again. So notice that 8, 2, 5, and 0 are out. So hindi nyo na pwedeng i-click. Sige nga, can you type an equation? You can only use these digits, 147, 369. Okay, to come up with something here. Sige. Pero yung equation nyo, huwag nyo lagyan ng 4 sa umpisa. Kasi nga sabi dito, mali yung pwesto ng 4. Sabi rin dito, mali yung pwesto ng 7. So huwag nyo lagyan dito ng 7, tsaka dito ng 3. All the others you can try any. So let's wait for a few possible suggestions from the group. So again, you can only use 1, 4, 7, 3, 6, 9. Okay, sige, hintay tayo ng mga ano. Kahit isang sagot lang muna. Okay, meron ditong 14. Sige, Sir Ismael suggested 14. May anong pwede ko i-add sa 14? So 14 plus something. So you can type 36. Tapos i-check natin na kunwari 14 plus 36, if you add them, okay, hindi na natin kailanganin itong mga 8250. Let's try. 14 plus 36 is 50. Tama ba? Okay. Sige, before we do this one, 31 plus 46. Ito kasi 14 plus 36 is 50. Dahil 50 yung sagot, kailangan natin i-adjust kasi yung wala ngang 5 tsaka 0. So, hindi pwedeng 36. So, i-delete natin yung part na 6. Siguro pwede natin gawing 39. Pag 39, 14 plus 39, baka pwede. Okay, so let's do this. 0.53, pero walang 5. So, dagdagan ko pa to para ano, gawin ko na lang 49. So, sulat lang kayo. Try natin yun mamaya. So, gawin ko na lang 14 plus 79. Yan. So, 79 plus 14 is going to be 93, I think. Okay, so 0. So, naku, hindi rin pwede. Kailangan mapaabot ko ng 100. So, yan, tama itong mga ginagawa nyo. Dapat umabot ng 100. Bakit? Kasi walang 0 sa equation. So, tingnan niyo, this is just a calculator, but it involves thinking. So, hindi pwedeng 79 lang. So, siguro try na natin yung mga sinulat nyo dito. Kailangan lumagpas ako ng 100 kasi wala nang 0. So, let me get one of these. Try natin 97. Okay, may nakita ako dito. Plus 36 is 133. Okay, so let's check. Ayan. So again, the brown says you have a correct number but a wrong location. Pero ito, dahil green siya, sure na tayo na 1 yan. Okay. So wala pa lang 3. Isang 3 lang meron sa ating problem. So hindi pwedeng tatlo yung 3. Isa lang pwede. So let's try another here. Subukan ko na lang to. 93 plus 71. Oops. 93 plus 71 is equal to 164. Okay. So let's look at the feedback. Enter. Nahihit na natin yung mga numbers. So ito na. Yung ginawa ni Sir or Ma'am, ba to? Curvy, Lemente, tama na lahat ng numbers. I-rumble nyo na lang. Kasi wala nang gray. So ito na yun. Bagu-baguhin nyo na lang yung pwesto ng mga ito. Okay? So what if gawin ko instead na 93, gawin kong 7, gawin kong ano? 71 plus 93. Try natin. 71 plus 93 is equal to 164. Okay. Oh, tama na yung 7, tama yung 3. Okay. Now, I think many of you will have a better chance of getting the answer. Alam nyo ng 70 plus. 70 plus. Tapos, alam nyo yung 3 yung dulo nito. Sige. So, maybe we can, pwede nyo pang isipin. 70. Oh, ito. Subukan natin to. May sinuggest dito, 79 plus 13. Kaya lang kulang to, Sir Dennis, no? 79 plus 13, hindi tayo abot ng 100. Kailangan umabot tayo ng 100. Ito, subukan daw natin to. 79 plus 63. Subukan natin. 79 plus 63 is equal to 137. Tapos, by the way, ang goal pala is, may isa na lang tayong chance, so sana makuha natin sa sunod. Tama ba itong pag-add ko? 79 plus 63? Ay, mali pala kasi. Sandali. 79 plus 63 is what? 132? Ay, hindi pwede kasi hindi mag-add. Sige, try na lang natin iba. 76 plus 43, suggested by Sir or Ma'am Curfy, 76 plus 43 is equal to 139. 139. Let's see if this is correct.
119 po.
Ay, 119 pala. Sorry. Dalawang 1. Ayan. Uy, tama. Okay. Actually, hindi ko in-expect matapos natin, but this is correct. Dalawa ang 1. Yes. So number is an example of, actually kaya to sa calculator, di ba? So makita natin, sinasabi natin gagamit ng calculator, hindi na mag-isip ang bata. O bakit dito? Gamit tayo calculator pero nag-isip ang bata. So it really depends on how we use the calculator. Okay lang, hindi ko rin napansin. So yun. So again, we can use the calculator in order to develop higher order thinking skills. So what kind of technology is this? R, A, or T? So tingnan natin ulit. What kind of technology is this? R, A, or T? Okay, may nagsabing T. Yes, because we can use this to transform education. We're not just focused on calculations, but we're focusing on 21st century skills, problem solving, critical thinking, di ba? So yun. Okay, there's not much time, so konti na lang siguro daanan ko. This one. Okay, para makita, kasi I'm sure many of you are familiar with the graphing of GeoGebra. Pero meron din palang ganito sa GeoGebra. Okay. So, in the exercise below ito, create an equation whose solution is an odd integer. So, kunwari gagawa ako 6x plus 1 is equal to 45. Tingnan natin, pwede ba to? Anong solution nito? Saan siya? 45 minus 1, 44. 44 divided by 6, hindi siya eksakto. So, anong pwede? Tingnan natin. Sige, I'll give you time to think. Kailangan kasi yung pag-isipan muna. So, I'll pause for a while. Okay? Pero pakita ko lang yung ginawa ko kanina. Ano yun? 6x plus 1 is equal to 45. May feedback naman. Bakit? Kasi ang solution nito ay hindi odd integer. Okay, merong sagot dito, Sir Raul. 6x plus 1 is equal to 25 daw. Sige, pag nag-minus 1 tayo, 24. Ay, konti na lang kasi ang sagot nito tama, integer na. Pero add pala, yun, add pala. So okay lang. Gusto natin add. At least nagawa na natin integer. Okay. So no worries. So, ito, mahirap yung 6, gawin natin 5. 5x plus 1 is equal to 46. Ayan. So this is an example. And many of you are also able to give, no? So ang kagandahan nito, pag may nakasagot ng isa, pwede pang i-discuss, pwede pang ituloy, katulad nito. 3x plus 2 is equal to 17 daw. So you have actually many possible answers. And if you look through the chat box, ang daming mga possible na sagot. Di ba? So, okay. So hindi ko na kayo tanungin kung R, A, or T ito, but I hope that you can see that this example can be an A or a T because it again helps the student focus more on critical thinking. Hindi lang yung mag-solve sila for no reason, but they actually apply their solution to a linear equation. Ayan. So, hindi ko na lang daanan to kasi again, all the links will be in the PowerPoint. Okay? This one. Kung pang-elementary naman to, order of operations. Maganda rin ito. So, order of operations. Iniisip natin hindi pwede pang elementary. So, dito naman ang tanong, meron kasi ditong target. The target is 37. This one. And you can actually change the target. But here, the target is 37. Sige, I'll look for the chat box. What possible expressions can you type here so that the target is 37? So I see here an example. Ay, wala pa pala. Ito yung sa previous, no? O, ito iba naman. Meron dito 1 plus 4 times 9. Kahit may sumagot ng iba, type lang kayo kasi maraming answer ito. 1 plus 4 times 9. You can check. Okay, correct. At marami sumagot dito, 7 times plus 6 times 5, 37. Ayan. So thank you. Medyo nakita natin that you are involved also in the thinking. Okay, pag mali yung nalagay ninyo, halimbawa nalagay ninyo ay 4, if you check, okay, meron din siyang feedback. Okay? And again, please, I invite you to scroll through the chat box. You will also see many of your co-participants giving correct answers. And you can change the question. Pwede hindi 37. Sandali. Pwede niyong baguhin ito. So, paano mo baguhin yan? So, pwede niyo kunwari gawin 52, enter. So, ay, dito pala natin babaguhin. So, you can change the expression. So again, this is another example of a T. Ayan. Okay, thank you for your responses. You can again see that even with just one task, it invites higher order thinking. O mga math teachers daw talaga kayo. Subukan nyo to sa klase. So actually, mas kilala nyo yung estudyante nyo. So you can adjust the boxes here depending on kung anong level ng mga students nyo. You know them better or the target. So to summarize, okay, so that we can finish before 11. So I want to summarize the points that we mentioned in this session. First is, we discussed, does higher order thinking skills require the use of technology? And is technology required in developing higher order thinking skills? Our short answer for that is no. Okay? Pwede kayong gumamit ng Blackboard para makadevelop ng higher order thinking skills. Pwede rin kayong gumamit ng technology na hindi pala nagde-develop ng higher order thinking skills. Pwedeng replacement lang pala yung gamit nyo. So, pag gumamit ng technology, hindi sigurado na higher order thinking. Depende kung nandun kayo sa A or sa T. Nandito. Okay? So, ito yung idea natin ngayon. Huwag nating lalahatin na pag gumamit ng chalk, hindi magaling ang teacher. Pag gumamit ng technology, magaling ang teacher. Hindi. Malay mo, gumamit ng technology pero replacement lang pala. O, di sayang. So we want to harness the advantages of technology. So when we say harness the advantages, we try to go for amplification or transformation. We go for the development of 21st century skills. We don't want students to be fast. We want them to be thinkers. Ayan. And also, actually yun na, sa haba ng session natin, yun na yung pinaka punot dulo, yung dalawang yun. So hopefully, it opens also our minds that we cannot use technology for basic math. Tingnan niyo yung mga example kanina about yung sa numble or yung, ito lang huli, yung goal is 37. Those are basic math concepts, but we can use technology in order to develop more thinking. Di ba? Ma-challenge pa rin mga bata. Kung mga teacher nga, nag-iisip kung kayo, nag-isip ano pa kaya yung mga estudyante. But we use calculators and we use basic math. So pwede pala yun. Gumamit ng calculator para makadevelop ng higher order thinking skills. So that's the summary of this session. So there is nothing wrong with using Blackboards. We do not need to use technology all the time. Okay? But if we use technology well, we have to use it in a way that amplifies or transforms instruction, not just for decoration. Diba? Hindi lang yung for compliance. Pero again, kung yun ang in-expect sa inyo, wala kayong magawa, mag-comply talaga kayo. Pero para mas may sense din yung paggamit yun ng technology, itong dalawa yung ating maging goal. Amplification or transformation. Because if we only use technology as replacement or R, then we are not harnessing the full advantages of technology. So I think that's my summary. So focus on tasks, not on the technology. The tasks that accompany the technology must foster critical thinking and problem solving. So it's really still up to us teachers. Huwag niyong ipaubaya sa technology yung pag-develop ng higher order thinking skills. Nasa inyo yon kung anong mga tanong yung ibibigay ninyo sa mga estudyante. So the challenge that I mentioned at the start of this session was you choose an idea or strategy or an app or a specific technology that you would explore further and use in your own classes. So ang daming example kanina, hindi ko dinaanan lahat, okay? Because I wanted you to choose whatever is applicable for you. Ang mahalaga lang naman kanina is ma-identify ninyo kung R, A, or T para pag pumili kayo, at least nandun kayo sa A or sa T. And So this session provided some input on free technological tools, so you're urged to explore more tools on your own time. And for, hindi pala tomorrow, mamaya pala, make sure you have pen and paper. So ngayon okay lang na wala, pero mamaya kailangan sana natin ng pen at paper. So please prepare that before our 1:30 p.m. session. So that's it, Ma'am Ria. Thank you for facilitating the morning session, and I'm open for questions if there are any.
Thank you, Doc Debbie. Ang ganda nung iniisip ko, ang takeaway ko dito, Doc Debbie, yung reflection on the use of technology talaga eh. Minsan kasi masyado tayong engrossed sa technology, parang yun na yung focus, but nawawala na yung nasa sideline yung goal. Ano ba yung goal to use technology? You don't use technology just for the sake of using technology.
Decoration.
Oo. Parang pampabongga lang, pero simple lang naman pala yung task at hand. Kasi minsan, ako din, I think I'm at fault pag gano'n, yung carried away ako sa, gusto ko maganda yung presentation, but really it is the substance pala talaga of your goal. Meron po ba tayong questions para kay Doc Debbie? May pa-quiz po si Doc Debbie mamayang hapon.
Wala naman,
Mag-ready
baka matakot naman sila.
Mag-ready po tayo ng pen and paper. Kung nag-enjoy po tayo this morning, mas mag-enjoy po tayo mamayang hapon sa session ni Doc Debbie. May tanong po ba? Pwede niyo pong i-type. Doc Debbie, may tanong po, are printed materials considered technology po? Handouts, mga ganun po siguro.
Yun nga eh, I think it really depends on the definition, because in the broadest sense, even pencil and paper are considered technology. Remember, there was a time na hindi siya considered. So, hindi ko yan masagot. Depende talaga yan doon sa mag-define.
Definition, no? Kasi sa
Oo.
atin, pag gumamit ka ng computer or apps or software,
Oo.
technology. Pero para sa pag blackboard lang, hindi naman technology yun. But
Oo.
actually,
It
pwede, di
is.
ba? Pwede.
Oo.
Yeah. May tanong pa po ba?
And I also want to commend the participants kasi ang dami nilang na-share, and hopefully na binabasa nyo yung mga hinaing ng mga hindi naman hinaing ng mga kasama ninyo, kasi maganda talaga na mapagnilayan ninyo yung mga pinag-usapan natin ngayon doon sa sarili ninyong context yun.
Yes po. And they all belong to the same region. Eh. Mga Davao SDOs to, Doc Debbie. We have Mati City, we have Davao de Oro, and Davao Occidental.
Kaya
Oo.
nakarelate sila.
Nakaka-relate sila sa isa't isa. Wala naman na po yatang tanong. Anyways po, pag may naalala po tayong mga questions for Doc Debbie, we can still ask them this afternoon with her session. Thank you, Doc Debbie. We'll see you again at 1:30.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye po.
Have a good lunch.
Likewise, Doc Debbie. Okay, dear teachers, sana po nag-enjoy tayo and marami po tayong takeaways this morning. For this afternoon po, Doc Debbie is requesting that we have a pen and paper at hand, ready po for her session. Marami po siyang activities that she has prepared for us this afternoon. So we can now go on and accomplish our task for session 2. Mag-resume po tayo ng ating session, synchronous session or Zoom session at 1:30 in the afternoon. Still with Doc Debbie po. This time yung mga math games naman po that we can use for our classes. Okay, dear teachers, thank you for being very active this morning, and we'll see you again at 1:30. Maraming salamat po.